Hey, this is Matt. You're listening to That Time We Woke Up in a Podcast and Had to Explain Manga, our heated adventures over analyzing manga we find interesting, otherwise known as the Over Manga Cast. This week, taking a little bit of a break as we jump back into another Tatsuki Fujimoto one-shot with Look Back. So why don't you sit back and enjoy the episode.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Over Manga Cast. My name is Sam, and I'm just gonna skip the usual familiarity thing, unless anyone has an interesting anecdote about how they found out about this particular one-shot.
Oh, no, I just read it when it came out, over a year ago at this point, I think. It was in between the hiatus of Chainsaw Man Part 1 and Part 2.
So Matt's just punctual.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. All right, then. I believe we can dive right in, then, as this is another Tatsuki Fujimoto one-shot, which means... well, actually, this is the most coherent opener of one of his one-shots, because it just is what it is. It's not actually a movie or something. It's a young student, an elementary schooler, who draws... little 4-page manga strips for her school newspaper. Ayumi Fujino is her name. And what are you talking about? That's not an XP.
Original character, do not steal.
I mean, yes, but also...
Well,
that's also the point of the story.
Yes,
Exactly.
that is the point of the story, but I'm still going to make fun of it because it's funny.
It's not really an author insert when the, piece is partially autobiographical. But,
does that make it more of an author? Whatever, we're splitting hairs here. The point is that Fujino is popular amongst the students because for her decent comedy. It's a good little gag as well. The 4-page strip being two lovers passing away, promising that they'll meet in the next life and kiss again. The girl reincarnates. And where is my lover? Meteor coming to Earth with a kissy face.
Dark.
very, very Tatsuki Fujimoto.
Yeah.
Yes. And everything seems to just be going well with that, but a little bit of drama, a little bit of spice when a new student also gets a manga strip in the newspaper. Their name Kiyomoto, and their art on a technical level rendered far better than Fujino's.
Yeah, they look like professional landscape sketches.
This is being posted in the school comic section as, the funny pages, and it's just depictions of a school at sunset. And then it's 4 separate landscapes. I'm like, cool, but
There's no story, is there? There's no action. It's just very nice to look at.
It's one of those it's one of those abstract things. It's like, I give you these settings, and you can imagine the story for yourself.
Yeah, and I just had mixed feelings. I'm like, yes, this is nice, but it doesn't belong in the comic section, you know?
And that's sort of the point of all of this, is that it is absolutely extraordinary art, and a lot of the other students are like they had previously been complimenting Fujino's art skills, like, wow, you could be a mangaka drawing like that. That's amazing. And then landscape, 4 panels. It's like, man, Fujino's art kind of looks amateurish next to this, doesn't it? But, and, this comes up relevant later, it isn't a funny comic. It's just landscapes. It's like it might, on a technical level, be better, like more wholly rendered art, but it's not a comic.
Jacob, as you know, only one person can be good at art.
That is how 4th grade works. No one else can be good at this thing that I'm good at, or an aspect of it, than me. And that is all conveyed beautifully in Fujino's expression after she reads the side-by-side comic strips.
Oh, it's got one of those great Tatsuki Fujimoto's what the fuck is this? I hate it.
You just hear her going, "Ah!" internally, externally, just it's a wonderful expression.
So she runs on home, and her reaction, very fitting the character that we've seen up to this point. Because, like, before this, she was like, I wouldn't want to be a mangaka. Well, you're also really good at sports. Yeah, I'm going to be an athlete. Seeing that she's not the art anymore, I am going to dedicate every moment of the rest of my life to being better at art than this other person I do not know.
I really like this bit because as she's going through that realization, she's, walking home by herself, reminiscing on, friends and family, saying how good she is at art, and wow, this is really impressive. And then the one kid in the class saying that her art looked amateurish next to Kiyomoto's, and that's the one that sticks in her craw and makes her determined to dedicate every waking moment to being a better artist. And
Well,
like, yeah,
Decided to just be better at, taking that bitch out.
it's like, yeah, I get it. You get all this praise, and then you get the one negative criticism, and it never leaves you.
Fujimo is really just. I think the key thing about her character in this is she desperately like clings to the opinions of other people.
Oh yeah,
She doesn't really have any drive on her own.
she
But-
she acts as if she's self-assured, but she is really reacting to how other people perceive her.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, I think the an important aspect of her character is the fact that she is like, she seems like she's outgoing and, in control and has it all figured out, but she really doesn't.
But to be fair as well, fourth grader.
Yeah.
So, you know.
I mean, you say she doesn't have it all in control. She's got that grind set down.
Yeah, as the next several
Yeah.
pages are dedicated to just seeing Fujino's back hunched over sketching as the seasons change.
Yeah, people are starting to get worried.
Your grades are tanking. You don't have friends. You don't hang out with us anymore.
You're starting to look like a real hyper obsessed weirdo here. We're gonna be in middle school soon. Being this like weird art otaku's gonna just you're gonna get a lot of weird looks about this.
Everyone knows no one does art in middle school.
Nope.
Yeah, you hit 7th grade and you are by law required to put down any pens and pencils except for writing.
Which, I mean, again, Fujino kind of like takes things to heart. And the one thing is she's looking at the like last school newspaper and sees, oh yeah, my comic's pretty good. But god damn, Kiyomoto's stuff just blows it out of the water still. I give up. I cannot compete with this. I gave it 2 full years washing my hands of this.
When like her art has, noticeably improved. It's still not spectacular, but
It's what you would expect from a talented elementary school artist.
completely gives up 180s, turns to the friend she's been neglecting for basically 2 years and says, you want to go out for ice cream after school?
Yeah, she starts taking up, like, she also takes up her sister's offer to learn karate as well.
Has her mom throw out all her old sketchbooks, just classic turn on a dime because again, one thing happened to nick my self-image.
Well, no, she got someone's outside opinion that it's kind of weird that you're still doing art. Maybe you should focus on something else. And also her own like value of her efforts are like, well, I'm not at the goal I set for myself. So I don't know. It's a hard place to be. Like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, like, there are some times when you dedicate yourself to something and you ultimately discover, like, it's hard to walk away when you've sunk so much time and effort into something.
it's a like good sign of strength right there to know when something just isn't working out and being able to cut that loss. Like,
Mhm.
but unfortunately, the teacher decides to go, and it's the end of 6th grade, so the end of elementary school. They're graduating because they go on to separate middle schools and high schools. And the teacher says Kiyomoto didn't show up for graduation because they're shut in. They don't ever come into school. You're basically their only friend because you're both in the newspaper together. And even Fujino's like, that makes no sense. I literally, I don't want to go to a child's home. There you go.
I am a middle-aged man. I am not randomly walking up to a child's house. That's weird. Look, I know it is by pure dint of proximity of hobbies that you know this person, but that is better than literally nothing.
Yeah, he doesn't quite say that out loud, and Fujino definitely does not get why he doesn't want to do this, but
Look, just do your teacher one last favor. Okay, fine. Does make you wonder how Kiyomoto did manage to graduate, considering, never leaves the house, but
I mean, I'm pretty sure they have something similar to like the packet of work they kind of just send to your house if you're like sick or whatever.
yeah, that makes sense. Some sort of accommodation like that. But
Yeah.
Fujino goes to Kiyomoto's house, and there's no answer at the doorbell ringing, but the door's not locked. So, stick head and be like, hey, got your certificate. Just gonna leave it here.
she sees someone moving and decides to go inside to hand over the diploma. And that's when she notices the hallway filled with sketchbooks.
Yeah, like the manga makes this big deal of showing how Fujino is like filling up a bookshelf with sketchbooks. This is just the only thing in this hallway, like the stacks at a library. And Fujino walks down, sees a random unfilled in 4-page manga strip, doodles a gag into it. Kiyomoto is far in the lead of the shut-in competition. Will she be able to pull it off? Last panel. Been dead in the room so long, she's just bones.
It's one of those ones where it's not nice, but it's not quite mean either. Like, if the two of them had any kind of like friendship or relationship, this would be a really like it would be cute. But it's one of those ones where, and like you can see as she's drawing it, she kind of knows I shouldn't be doing this. This is kind of a low blow.
She's letting out frustration that she's here to do a job, and the person she's here to she's doing a favor for Kiyomoto, and they don't even have like the common decency to come out and greet her at the door. So there's like a frustration there of like, okay, whatever. But what happens though is she drops it by accident. She was never intending to do that.
Never intending for this to see the light of day. Drops it. It slides under the bedroom door, and
of course it does.
Yeah, there's a noise of shock on the other side, and Fujino just slaps down the certificate. I'm leaving this here now, bye, and runs.
Kiyomoto does catch her at the door, and they have I guess the inevitable conversation, because like Kiyomoto ends up revealing that she is a huge fan to the point where she like remembers which are her favorite comics from what year.
This is amazing. I didn't think that I'd like get a chance to talk to you. I'm sorry. I'm real bad talking. Autograph. I don't have paper. Just sign my back.
And here's Fujino like, okay.
I'll sign your pajamas?
This is weird, but I'm okay with the direction this conversation is going right now.
That's a bold statement. I appreciate it.
So you're like a genius of manga, and I just have one question. Why'd you stop drawing comic strips in 6th grade?
You.
Oh. Well, hold on. I didn't really stop drawing. I just took a break from the mundanity of a school newspaper. I'm actually working on something that's going to be in like it's an official contest entry. It's going to be some pretty top tier stuff.
Yeah, she's that big.
and then the reaction is, of course, show me, show me, show me, show me, show me.
Again, socially awkward, so she doesn't know she's that big.
I love the line she gives, which is just like, after just saying I've basically completed it, goes, show me, show me, show me. Well, I mean, I basically have the story completed in my head. I just need to draw and write it. And I'm like, oh, so you've done nothing.
It's almost like you're making this up on the spot as an excuse because you feel awkward being confronted with this. I love it. It's great. Okay, so I guess when it's done, I'll show it to you. Hey, it's raining. I bye.
And then we get this lovely, like, 4-panel scene of her, like, walking away, getting to a field, like, doing a real stilted walk, and then she just starts dancing in the rain.
Yep.
She's so elated that someone
Popping off.
the nature of like the reason why it's kind of important that despite how good the art was, like a bunch of landscapes aren't a comic. It's that they were the funny papers, even though Fujino's art wasn't as like technically good, they were better comics. But she kept comparing herself in terms of raw art skill, and it made her hate what she was doing.
That's the jumpstart she needs. She's in middle school now, and she's gone straight back to art otaku. Because
the same hunchback position that we had seen before.
Got that sweet dopamine of someone else's approval and just runs with it. Which now, constant, steady source, because she's working with Kiyomoto, like, after school.
Very quickly decide to work together on it. Kiyomoto does the backgrounds while Fujino pretty much does the rest of it, which, considering how much art there is for backgrounds, that's honestly pretty even split on the art department.
A little over because Kiyomoto mentions, man, good thing I don't have to go to school. I got all the art done. And I'm like, what? Hold on.
Yeah, and it's also working to each of their strengths, as was pointed out previously. But yeah, basically took a school dropout, was like, you want to be my manga partner? Yes. Okay, cool.
Their little contest entry gets published in a magazine.
In Shueisha, even.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you guys read the description? It's printed on the page, but it's just it's Metal Parade.
Yeah.
A festival only for robots that this human boy finds himself in by mistake. I'm like, that's such a good idea.
That is... I can't let them know that I have flesh.
Oh my god.
I feel like Sam would do that on purpose.
Yes. This very much reads like either Matt or Sam wrote this.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, damn it.
But yeah, I mean, they do that, and now they're off to the races. They both have got that dopamine hit, and they want to chase that high.
Yeah, and they got a 1 million yen prize, and they use 100,000 of that to go out and enjoy themselves. And it's the most fun and social interaction Kiyomoto has ever had.
Also, because this is a Tatsuki Fujimoto work, they go to the movies.
Yes,
Of course.
I'm seeing a trend here. I think they like the movies.
I sort of love the panel of them at the movies because Fujino is just staring. It's that look that Fujimoto does, that it's like it is both staring intently and also staring blankly at the same time. That's Fujino. And then there's like Kiyomoto like curled up and like hiding under her hoodie.
I want to know what movie they're seeing because the group of people watching this movie are such an odd collection of people. There is a middle-aged man in the front row kind of just watching. We don't know if he's by himself. Then there are two dudes both watching. Neither of them seem to want to be there. There's the two girls in the middle. There's some dude by himself who seems to actually care. Then there's a woman by herself who's also staring blankly at the movie. And I'm like, I have no idea what this could possibly be.
It's got to be one of those really niche films.
You just wouldn't understand.
It's the same one that made Denji and Makima cry.
I was gonna say, if it wasn't any more obvious, this is Blue Period by way of Chainsaw Man. There, I said it out loud.
But we have another montage of them continuing to work on manga. They go on a spree of publishing one-shots. The Sea Cities, the Cicada Humans, Bagworm.
Also, great picture of Kiyomoto at an aquarium. Nothing bad ever happens at an aquarium.
Nothing bad ever happens at an aquarium in a Fujimoto story.
Especially not if it's part of a montage.
Of course not.
Oh, there's even a shark looking at her like, damn, man.
All that hard work finally pays off because they're talking with their editor, and it looks like they're getting serialized.
Woo! They're actually getting a full manga run.
At 17.
Yeah, it's insane. Because especially because they've had 7 one-shots at that point.
Yeah, and their editor is like they're shocked at this. It's like, we're still technically in school, and their editor's like, yeah, you guys have already published so much. The higher ups were like, get on this. We should have done it sooner.
I'm sure they just didn't want to jump through the legal loopholes of hiring 16-year-olds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would, run amok with some child labor laws.
There's that too.
Pesky child labor laws.
Yeah.
We can't throw literal children into the grindhouse work culture of manga.
Yeah.
It's all sunshine and rainbows. Everything's going great until
Kiyomoto says that she actually can't work with Fujino on this.
she's going to art school.
She wants to go to art school. An absolutely spectacular scene of Fujino not taking it well.
Oh, I love this scene is played out. Like the fact they had to walk so far and they're like in the middle of a field for Kiyomoto to build up the courage to say, hey, I really can't be on the serialization with you. I want to go to art school. I want to do things by myself. This is really hard for me to say. And Fujino just doubles down on her pride and goes, well, that's fine. I don't really need you. I can get assistance anyway. Also, did you know no one actually goes to art school? It's kind of worthless. Really, you'd just be wasting your time there. And I'm like, oh, Fujino.
It's brutal. It's like she's coming up with every grasping at every straw she can think of off the top of her head to try to convince her not to do it.
You really think you're gonna have to talk to a lot of people? You sure you can do that without me? It's like, oh my god, why would you do this to your friend? Oh, because you're hurt.
Because she's that bitch.
You can't even talk to the cashier at the convenience store by yourself. I'll practice.
You won't succeed, she says to her friend's face.
Poor
You
thing.
are going to fail. No one likes you. Wow. This is like the opposite of Old Yeller. Wait, no, Old Yeller, she shoots. I meant, Shiloh.
No.
Go away. No one likes you.
But I mean,
No,
like,
it's the opposite of Old Yeller. She's having Kiyomoto shoot her.
look, we'll get to things. No, I love this at least in part because it speaks a lot to Fujino's character because again, like she has this like confidence to her. She's the face of the duo. She's the one who talks to people, and she's always big and the center of attention and of everything. But this like it shows the level of insecurity that she has. That's a front, and how alike the two of them are. Fujino pretends to have everything together when really
it's, oh crap, I'm about to lose half of the team right as this massive thing is coming up.
I love,
even more so to an extent, half of herself. Like they've really tied a lot of each other, a lot of themselves into each other.
I love that the thing that gets her to finally just cut this fight off and like concede is going like, well, why do you even want to go to art school anyway? And Kiyomoto just goes, I want to be a better artist. And that's just like, what do you mean you want to be a better artist? Like, come on.
Yeah, and the thing is, for all the times that Fujino was comparing herself to Kiyomoto was in turn comparing herself to Fujino. Like the things that they were the things that they were individually good at. The simple fact is Kiyomoto, like she was just doing the backgrounds because she really couldn't do like the people and stuff, and she knows as long as she's just doing the backgrounds with her with her friend, with the other half of her team, that she's never going to push herself to be able to do the things that she can't do. You know, it's a really good moment of self-reflection of, you know, I want to grow because I want to be worthy of the praise that she has to at least some level know that Fujino heaps on her. They do ultimately go their separate ways, with the heavy implication that Kiyomoto will come back like after she's graduated art school and they'll work together again.
Yeah,
Fujino has to be like, well, if there's space, or like that sort of attitude towards the idea, because of course she does, but
she kind of has to because her pen name is their name.
yeah.
It's a portmanteau, so. Or not, it's not a portmanteau, but you know what I'm getting at.
Just a little tsundere. Art tsundere.
Goes back to the grind set.
Goes back to the grind set. Shark Kick is going. I love it. Shark Kick.
I am so mad Shark Kick isn't real because we don't. Later on, we see the cover of Shark Kick, and I'm like, this looks so good.
I want to read it.
So I don't know if Shark Kick is supposed to only be Chainsaw Man because the name is so close to Fire Punch.
Yeah, it could be both, honestly.
I mean, probably is because the end of this little bit of her doing her grind set is Shark Kick has an anime announcement, and I'm like, oh man, Shark Kick anime.
I want to watch the Shark Kick anime, but it would be awesome.
I want to know who they get for the OP.
Unfortunately, more pressing matters occur because Fujino looks up from the grind to glance at a news broadcast and sees an attack at an art school. A man with an axe went in and assaulted, murdered several people. And it's not explicitly said for the longest time, but the look on Fujino's face confirms it. That is the school that Kiyomoto went to.
I love that what we get, and it's like eventually they say it out loud with the funeral picture, but like you immediately know where this is going, and the way that it gets conveyed to the audience is Fujino immediately tries to call Kiyomoto, who does not pick up. Then Fujino gets a call from her mother, and it's so gut-wrenching.
And then like it's from that realization on the phone call with her mom that it transitions into the funeral, it transitions into a memory that then goes into a funeral, but like
it and I love this memory because it's the two of them walking in a snowstorm, you know, talking about their aspirations as kids of having their own manga series one day. It's so good because the panels are like broken up by the snowflakes to show that it's the past, and
the past where everything's snowy and only happy things happen. They should have a snowball fight.
Yeah, they should, shouldn't they?
Oh god, the page of her dropping her phone and just the look of grief as she looks down on it, just top tier.
A Shark Kick goes on hiatus.
I love the generic thing you see whenever a manga goes on hiatus. It's just like the mangaka is suffering an illness, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's just boilerplate.
Yeah, they have that saved as a Word doc somewhere with insert name of series here, insert name of mangaka here.
Yep,
just in brackets. And then we get a brief shot of the funeral picture, and then Fujino back in that hallway of sketchbooks. By some serendipity, finds the old 4-panel of the shut-in contest that originally drew Kiyomoto out from her room.
And by extension, put her on the path that ended with her dying.
Is bullshit, but...
True. If she had, we get to see what would have happened if she stayed in her room.
Yes.
Well, we get to see Fujino having like an alternate universe fantasy about it.
No, I think that actually happened. I think magic exists in this universe.
So yeah. To the surprise of everyone, I actually kind of go with the cynical read on this one. the sort of implication that magic is going on is that in Kiyomoto's room, there is a 4 Fujino's fantasy. Like that, room hadn't been opened that Kiyomoto drew like while she was still a shut-in. Fujino has the fantasy before she opens the door. So it's like, how the heck did that happen? And at first I was thinking it's like, is this some kind of time loop thing where Kiyomoto knew that she could just stay inside? Because what the fantasy is if they never connected, Kiyomoto would still go to art school, but because Fujino wouldn't also be so like heavy into the art thing and the manga thing, she would have actually like kept up with the karate classes, happens to be jogging by the school and beats up the
Perpetrator.
The murderer.
Yeah.
like that's the fantasy. And then you see the 4 of someone with a pickaxe comes in and menaces Kiyomoto, and then Fujino kicks him in the back and saves the day. But the thing is, Kiyomoto's an otaku who is obsessed with Fujino. She's imagining a fantasy where her idol saves her from a bad guy.
Mhm.
That is almost surely just a coincidence. Like they spent so much time together, of course they think the same way. But what I love about it, and this is something that Fujimoto as an artist and an author is so good at, both reads lead to the same place. The ultimate point.
Well, yeah, because the work doesn't care.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually matter.
Regardless of whether there's some time loop shenanigans or, this is all just one regular person processing her grief. Regardless, it was Fujino's art, the work that she put into it that touched Kiyomoto, that puts her, in that place where she's able to get out of her room at the end.
What I really like about the time travel, I guess we'll say, is the like timeline B is after she assaults the person who came in with the axe and like takes him out and is going to the hospital for like a sprained, or she rolled her ankle, I think. She's going to the hospital for that, and is just like, Kiyomoto goes up to her and goes like, "Hey, are you Fujino? Like, I heard you give the name to the police." It's like, did you do like comics? You're like an inspiration to me. I just wanted to know your manga was really cool. And Fujino in that timeline too goes, "Oh yeah, well, you thought those were good. Don't worry, I'm working on something. I'm basically going to get serialized any day now. Look forward to it." And I'm like, "There's Fujino."
Mhm.
Even in your dreams.
I also like how in a world where she didn't get praised for her art and went on that grind set, she did the other thing where her sister praised her for the karate and she followed someone else's dream. Because in both timelines, Fujino's excelling at other people's dreams.
And it ends with Fujino slowly, as she's, processing and moving past her grief, getting back to that grind set. And it's overlaid with an interview where she admits that, in all honesty, it's a lot of work. It's a hassle. It's hard. I don't really do it because it's fun.
I don't enjoy drawing manga.
But the obvious question then, why do you do it? And it's the last few pages showing the look on Kiyomoto's face when Fujino first showed her the rough draft of Metal Parade, and happy memories of the two of them working together.
And just that idea that creating can suck a lot sometimes. I've mentioned being a writer. Creating can suck sometimes. It can be frustrating. It can mess you up, emotionally. But the idea that what you create could really touch someone, really affect someone, that's what it's for. You're making something, you're expressing yourself so that someone can have a reaction to it.
Mm-hmm. And that's a beautiful and profound connection. And I love the last 2 pages. It's Fujino crying as she's reading the copies of Shark Kick that she found in Kiyomoto's room.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the
And,
2 pages after that are so good because
Yep.
she cries her eyes out reading their manga together. Then she gets up, she brushes herself off, walks into work, ties her hair up, and goes back to the grind.
Mm-hmm. The same pose she's been in the whole manga.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's short, it's beautiful, it's a nice little chunk of time. I guess we got our discussions, but I guess kind of a smooth transition because it's just like your thoughts.
Yeah. Honestly, a lot of what Jake said. The joy of making something often isn't in the actual act of making it, because that's a stressful pain in the ass. It's the excitement and the energy that comes from making something with someone. And it, even if it's not a collaborative thing, if it's, making something and showing it to someone, or they make something and show it to you, and you give your thoughts, and it's a level of like interpersonal connection that is very special. And Fujimoto does an absolutely beautiful job of portraying that and what being a mangaka means to him.
hmm I really like the duality of the two main characters because you've got Kiyomoto, who's naturally talented, who seems to enjoy doing art purely for the craft of it. Like, she enjoys drawing for drawing's sake. That's why she has just sketchbooks upon sketchbooks over and over again. Like, she enjoys drawing because she enjoys drawing. Like, there is a passion to that. There's not really directed by much. There's not a lot of ambition there. It's purely, I draw because that's what I like doing. And then, like, on the other side of that, you got Fujino, who doesn't really like drawing. Like, she says that out flat out at the end, but like, you can see otherwise, like, her art is used as a means to like get attention. And like, frankly, everything she does is like a job in search of that
Validation.
validation, like gratification kind of. And like,
Mm.
it's so interesting because normally you see that kind of mindset portrayed negatively, but this manga's not doing that. It seems to portray what she's doing as equally valid to Kiyomoto, like doing something out of obligation purely because you like the result is just as valid as someone doing it because they love doing it.
Yeah, and as someone who's writing a novel right now, who, I thought I was getting close to the end and realized, nope, I got more work I need to do. Boy, this hit me at the right time.
Yeah.
Creating it can be pain.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like, I honestly think that I'm kind of in the same place as Fujino, which implies that there's probably a lot of ways of, I don't really know anything about Fujimoto himself. There's probably a lot of ways of interpreting this definitely not partially autobiographical story.
Oh yeah, I got something that makes it pretty clear. It's partially autobiographical,
but I very much identify with Fujino in the sense that I don't create for the sake of the creation itself. I create for the sake of how other people receive it, how it affects other people, and it can make doing the thing feel like a job. But when you see how people react to something that you created, it makes any amount of effort worth it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this had quite the effect on me. It hit me at the right time.
But this definitely, like, compared to Goodbye Eri, this definitely feels like a much more personal work.
Yeah.
It also was more.
It didn't have magic vampires, and
yeah, I did not like Goodbye Eri. I did not like it the first time I read it. I did not like it the second time I read it. I just do not like Goodbye Eri. It just does not. I don't know. It sensationalizes a very unhealthy coping mechanism, and that's what I don't like about it. Too many red flags for me. I did very much like Look Back, though. It seemed more poetic and seamless. I resonated most with Fujino, just because I am that person who is perpetually writing a novel. Don't ask me for a draft, though.
Fanfiction.net.
//
But yeah, this was a lot more palpable for myself, and I don't know, I felt like the characters were a little bit more relatable, and I really did appreciate that, that transition into, alternate realities. I felt that was well done. Um but yeah, this was really, I would possibly read if there were more to this and this wasn't just a one shot. This is something that I would, casually peruse at my own leisure. It's that kind of, you know, relatable, down to earth storyline. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. This is a good grounding in reality story.
Yeah.
So, well, now that we're all somber and thoughtful.
Well, as long as we're somber and thoughtful, I do want to bring up the one thing that kind of makes this a personal bit with Tatsuki Fujimoto is this the publish date for this was if you remember when the Kyo
Right.
animation studio, someone did like an arson on their building
Mm-hmm.
as a kind of individual he's like, oh, they're stealing my art. Which might sound similar. This was published exactly 2 years to the day on the anniversary of that.
That makes sense.
Which makes me wonder about
So-
the reception in Japan, because I'm sure that a lot of them remembered this. Yeah.
Well, I think this was like a real personal connection to Fujimoto. It's a story about your friend dying in like a senseless murder.
Again, talking about about why do people do art in in a lot of ways it's about processing various emotions, and this is a prime example of that, processing the grief that comes with the senseless destruction of life of someone close to you.
And also, if you don't learn art, you should learn karate.
That way you can perform vigilante justice and beat up random murderers.
Look, Sentai has told me that's what you do.
I do think that there is a lot to be said about the fact that whether that's a time traveling alternate timeline or simply a fantasy, either way, I think there is something to be said about the sometimes the power of that sort of cheesy action, series, whether it be, something in Shonen Jump or Sentai or whatever it is. There is that element of boy, if I could only do that, everything would be better. And then everything works out well. Like there's something comforting about that sort of outcome.
And to people who like to poo-poo like the rumination of like, well, if only I had, I think that's a very healthy like outlet, because I mean, yeah, it might not be rational at the time, but I mean, I feel like we all kind of do it. It's just, if only I was there sooner, if only I had taken this path instead of this other path, if only whatever.
It's human to ask what if.
Yeah, and I think the reason why this does such a good job of portraying why something like, Fujimoto's stories, something like Chainsaw Man, for example, the reason why that sort of wish fulfillment-y escapist fantasy, like the reason it portrays it in such a positive light is because, Fujino has that, in the more cynical version of the interpretation, Fujino has that fantasy, and then she processes it, and then she gets on with it, And sometimes that's just what you gotta do.
Yep.
Really simple, really beautiful story.
It is.
Well, that's about the end of our thoughts here. We have been the Over Manga Cast. You can find us at Over Manga Cast on Twitter, Facebook, any of the social media platforms that still exist in the hellscape that is reality.
Well, in my alternate reality.
In the alternate reality, you can find us as Over Manga Cast on Mammoth, Hive. Oh, what were those Twitter clones that existed for like 2 seconds?
I think that's all of them.
But,
the social media Sentai.
Tumblr.
Oh god. Speaking of dystopian wastelands, you can also find us on YouTube, where you can like, comment, and subscribe. The episodes are on a 2-week delay, but you can also go to overmangacast.com, where you can also comment on individual episodes and catch up on all of our backlog.
And if you have a suggestion on something you'd like us to read or something to revisit, then hit us up at overmangacast@gmail.com. We get to all suggestions eventually. Sometimes they're busier than others. But speaking of revisits,
revisit.
Well, I guess we're just in a real Tatsuki Fujimoto mood because we're going back to Chainsaw Man!
Chainsaws!
Chainsaw Man Part 2!
Be sure to look back. Wait, no, that doesn't make any sense.
Be sure to re-listen to all of our previous episodes on Chainsaw Man. And then read chapters 98 through 111, so you are ready for next Thursday. And with that, good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Don't open the door, Denji.